shushu yangu alisikia hatawaiona mjukuu.
It was a story that until a few days ago, nobody could have predicted. Margaret NDUTA, a 37-year-old woman from Murang'a, Kenya, now faces the looming shadow of death in a Vietnamese prison.
Mama mzazi halali kwa sababu ya majonzi, akiimagine mtoto wake hataona mpaka mifupa.
The country of Vietnam, known for its harsh drug trafficking laws, rarely crossed paths with Kenya in the global news. But now, the fate of this Kenyan woman has thrust the two nations into a diplomatic tangle that may very well decide whether she lives or dies. The world is now glued to the developing story, which, to put it bluntly, reads like a thriller gone terribly wrong. Margaret's journey, which began with what seemed like a simple opportunity, has now become cautionary tale, sending shockwaves across village and igniting heated debates around the world. Let's rewind the beginning, and boy, does it go back. 2 years ago, Margaret was no different from many others in Kenya, dreaming of a life beyond the grid, financial freedom, luxury, the good life that was our vision. Then out of nowhere, a man appeared, someone only known as John, who offered her exactly what she thought she wanted, a payday of $1,300, about 167,000 Kenya shillings. The catch? She had to transport a suitcase from Kenya to Vietnam. No heavy lifting, no complicated details, a simple delivery. What could go wrong, right? In July 2023, Margaret boarded the plane to Vietnam, probably daydreaming of how this easy job would change her life. She passed through Ethiopia's Bole International Airport and the Qatar Ahmad International, both airports with some of the strictest security measures on the planet. Yet, there was nothing unusual. She was allowed to board the next flight. No alarms, no raised eyebrows. But when Margaret finally arrived in Vietnam, everything changed. Customs officials in Vietnam, with their eagle-eyed precision, sniffed something fishy about our luggage. And by sniffed, we meant their highly trained sniffer dogs did what they do best. They smelled cocaine, a lot of it. Imagine the shock. Here she was, thinking she was about to claim a sweet paycheck, only to realize that instead of living the high life, she was about to crash down into the depths of nightmare. The suitcase, instead of containing the clothes or trinkets she would imagined, was packed with 2 kilograms of pure cocaine, and dream of wealth was about to transform into a death sentence.
Chấp hành nghiêm nội quy cơ sở giam giữ và họ cũng
Margaret says she had no idea. She insists she was just an innocent mole caught up in a world of shady dealings. But Vietnam's laws are unforgiving. Ignorance is no excuse. They say the law there carries a brutal sentence for drug traffickers. Her explanation that she was just an unaware courier wasn't enough. After all, why would someone trust you with such a dangerous task instead of using professional courier service? As Margaret sat in the sterile, fluorescent lit interrogation room, her mind must have been racing, thinking about how naive she was. She had not asked the questions that she would have. What is in the bank? Why me? Those would have been good questions to ask before boarding the flight. But alas, hindsight is always 20/20. in our home country of Kenya, the story of Margaret's arrest spread like wildfire. In Murang'a, her mother Purity Wagoi was inconsolable. Desperation had gripped her as she turned to Kenyan officials for help.
Hiyo mapacha huyo mwingine akanipigia akanijambia, mam, nilipata Magi wetu alikuwa kotini na akachikwa na akahukumiwa kunyogo.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, that you can do your intervention na huyo msichana wetu ambaye ni Duta aweze kurudi katika hii nchi yetu ya Kenya.
President William Ruto's government was roped in along with the foreign ministers and the diplomats, all trying to secure a stay of execution. Let us do whatever it takes to save Margaret, they said. We cannot lose one of our own.
Mama mzazi halali kwa sababu ya majonzi, akiimagine mtoto wake hataona mpaka mifupa.
Foreign Affairs Principal Secretary Korir Sing'oei on his Twitter handle has said that he has engaged his Vietnam counterpart and they are considering Kenya's petition of halting the execution.
We should not lose a Kenyan, Mr. President. You need to act with speed. You need to help Margaret NDUTA. Margaret NDUTA should not be hanged.
But time, as they say, was of the essence. By March 16, 2025, which was yesterday, the execution had been scheduled. Vietnamese authorities were unmoved by the desperate pleas, with Margaret's final meal scheduled for 7:30 p.m. and the execution set for just an hour after the clock was ticking. The harsh reality of Vietnam's drug laws looms large. Carrying more than 600 grams of heroin or cocaine means the death penalty. No questions asked. And that is where Margaret's story becomes even more chilling. The night before her execution, the world watched as social media exploded with the calls for mercy. Kenyans everywhere flooded platforms desperate for Vietnam to show compassion. One passionate plea even suggested an extreme measure. Let us exchange one of our cabinet secretaries for Margaret, and they to save her life. Yet despite these heartfelt appeals, the Vietnamese government has made it clear their laws do not bend for compassion when it comes to drugs. So what happens next? As of this moment, the world awaits. Diplomats has not yielded any results yet. The Kenyan government, along with international human rights organizations, are still hoping for the last-minute reprieve, but it is unclear whether Vietnam will relent. Margaret's fate rests in the balance. We don't know whether execution was carried out yesterday. We are yet to get information about Margaret's fate. And as for Margaret, our final moments could be mere hours away. Will there be miracle, or will this story end in the most tragic way imaginable? Could have Vietnam spared Margaret and made any decision to offer compassion? We are yet to get information about the fate of Margaret. It is the race against time. This is Stephen, GC News.